Fantastic. I'm here with Alexander Nix of Cambridge Analytica. Great pleasure speaking with you. That's awesome. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you. So Cambridge Analytica is a big data and predictive analytics company. We're really trying to use data to drive insight into audiences so we can serve them more relevant, more personalized communication. So we use data and psychology to target and segment audiences, and then again data and psychology to engage them in the most effective way.
So obviously marketing has changed a lot over recent years, mostly due to the use of big data. What's the biggest changes that you have seen over the last 3 years, let's say?
Well, I think the biggest change is that marketing used to be top-down. That is, it used to be creative-led, so brilliant minds would come together and essentially use their experience and intuition to guess at what messages might resonate with which audiences. And that's being replaced by bottom-up communication. So we're seeing data being used to really understand audiences in incredibly granular detail, so that way before the creative process starts, we can start to understand which audiences need which message through which channel and which frequency, and then the creatives can go to work and do their magic.
So for you as a company, what does that actually mean? Like, how do you leverage those trends?
At a very high level, people are seeking advertising and marketing to become more personalized. People want to be spoken to as individuals. They don't want blanket advertising, generic messaging that's intended to target hundreds of thousands or even millions of people. They want and expect now for brands to know them as individuals and speak to them as individuals, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help those brands target and engage audiences effectively.
So obviously data protection is a big topic in terms of what you do. So the European Union is going to introduce new laws starting in spring next year. I've just heard it's going to be delayed a little bit, but anyways, it will come. And as you shared on stage, once Europe has more data protection in place, other countries might follow suit. How does that influence your work?
Well, look, for us, this is an incredible opportunity. I wouldn't say it's quite like Y2K, but it is a fundamental problem, or might be for brands, big and small, as they seek to become data compliant, where previously they might never have taken any steps at all to understand what data they have and to make sure that it is packaged and secured in the right way, especially where you bear in mind that I think companies can be fined up to 4% of revenue for non-compliance. So this is not a trivial matter, it's actually very serious.
It's very interesting to hear that you actually see privacy laws and tightening up on those, on the data as actually an opportunity for a company like you. What other trends do you foresee for the next 3 to 5 years, and which of those would actually represent an opportunity for you and your company?
Well, the opportunity that we're focusing on, and the one that I personally find most interesting, is using blockchain to provide data accountability and transparency. So, we're very excited about this space. We're investing very heavily into this, to understanding how we can build a platform that provides a blockchain architecture to provide data control for the individuals. We want to be able to give consumers, the general public, more control of their data. We think that's the logical step of how data should be managed. Every individual has the right to look after their own data. It's an asset that they should own, and they should be able to control, and they should be able to monetize that.
Fantastic. So what do you actually recommend to the modern marketer to look at, taking an 80-20 approach? What's most important for the years ahead?
Well, look, we all talk about IoT and how that's going to make data ubiquitous, how that's really going to impact the amount of data that's in circulation. But more data is like having more ingredients in a shop. Without the right chef, they're just ingredients. And so clearly, the future lies in data science and turning data into insight. It's about turning the raw ingredients into something delicious, making that data into actionable insights that can drive your marketing, that can drive your media consumption or your media purchasing behavior.
If you could give one example or like a mini case study about a marketing success or a failure, could you share one with us?
What I can talk about is how we see the greatest brand uplift when we actually use data to not just optimize at the front end, but also to drive media at the back end, and particularly where we see a cross-channel approach where we're targeting the same audiences through digital and through television, both of which have been optimized through data where the content has been made specifically for those audiences. And sometimes we can see an uplift of anywhere from 17 to 25% over traditional advertising and marketing. Now, these numbers are staggering. They're actually unheard of when you compare them to what's been possible in the last decade or two. And so this really is the tip of the iceberg, and I think we're going to see data being integrated by not just small disruptive technology agencies such as Cambridge Analytica, but really the bigger agencies are now starting to try and embrace the data evolution or data revolution to understand how they can use that to also take advantage of some of these incredible uplifts.